Today I review Totally Awesome Hulk number 5, Batman number 51, and Avengers Standoff Assault on Pleasant Hill Omega number 1. I forgot to record an intro. First up is Totally Awesome Hulk number 5, written by Greg Pak with art by Mike Choi. This series continues to be kind of a perfect melding of lighthearted and humorous, along with very kind of darker tones in the background constantly. I'd kind of liken it to iZombie, which is probably one of the best, not really superhero shows, but one of the best comic book shows on right now, and just its tone is just spot on and just perfect. In this issue, Amadeus' struggle with his version of the Hulk is really brought to the forefront here and explored, along with Enchantress trying to kind of coax it out of him, and she just kind of shows up and is like, hey, be the Hulk. Everything is just written really well, just again, that struggle that's been constantly in the book so far is being brought to the forefront here, and it's just done really well. As far as the art goes, the art has changed here, and I'm not entirely sure what I feel about that yet. The art isn't awful by any stretch of the imagination, I'm just not sure if I like this style better than the last one or not yet. Overall though, it's a great book, kind of a sleeper hit, so if you haven't read it, you should definitely check it out. Next up is Batman number 51, written by Scott Snyder with art by Greg Capullo. Yes, I'm reviewing a DC book. Calm down. Everything's fine. It's the only one that I'm current on right now, and it happened to come out, so I'm reviewing it. Calm down. That being said though, I do kind of want to put this out here. My ideal kind of structure for reviews all around is that I would ideally want to review one Marvel book, one indie book, and one DC book every week instead of 3 Marvel books or 2 Marvel books and a DC book. But so I just have to actually get current with certain books before I can start doing that, so bear with me. As far as the actual book goes, I am in love with this series, and I know that's not an unpopular opinion by any stretch of the imagination. I keep saying that today, I don't know why. Anyway, I love every single issue of this book. It is so damn good. As far as this specific issue goes, I loved it. It was great. I really don't think I have to point out the parallels between this issue and the first couple issues of this series. Just, it's beautiful. Everything is very well done here. And honestly, this feels like a proper and natural conclusion to this series and run on the character as a whole, but there is one more issue left. I'd imagine it's either going to be more closure for the entire series, or it's going to be setting up Tom King's run on the character, or it's going to be setting up All-Star Batman, which is Snyder and Capullo's new run on the character. I kind of hope that it is just more closure and it's not just blatantly trying to set up that new series. I want this series to be kind of self-contained. Because, like I said, this is the only DC book that I'm current with, and it's honestly the only DC book that I've read. I've been reading some of Justice League, but I pretty much just binged this entire series without reading anything else, and it honestly is pretty self-contained. I didn't feel confused or lost at any point throughout the series. Either way, I am super excited for more Bat stuff to come. Everything seems very promising. And finally is Avengers Standoff Assault on Pleasant Hill Omega number 1, written by Nick Spencer with art by Daniel Acuna. That was a mouthful. So this is the conclusion to the Avengers Standoff event, and overall, it was pretty phenomenal. For something that people were kind of irate about when it was first announced, being that it was an event that was pretty much announced while Secret Wars was still happening, I can understand why some people were kind of apprehensive towards reading this book, but you really should if you haven't. It's very good. The event overall is kind of just this Captain America / Avengers crossover event that's more or less self-contained, that kind of teases Civil War II, but doesn't really touch on it, and as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really have any weight put on to Civil War II. Everything in this issue and this event overall was super compelling, just like I said in my review of the Alpha issue. And speaking of that review, something that I commented on when this event started was I was worried that Baron Zemo and all the other obscure villains that I knew nothing about, Nick Spencer would pretty much say, you need to know everything about these characters, and that is not the case at all, which makes me super happy. This is a very new reader-friendly event. All you really need to know about the villains are that they kind of don't like Captain America and that they're villains. I do have to say though, the specific issue didn't really feel like that big of a conclusion to the event as a whole. It just was kind of anticlimactic. In fact, the last Sam Wilson Captain America issue felt like more of a conclusion to the event than this one, even though it wasn't really a conclusion to the event. I don't know. I guess I might be feeling this way because the big reveal is supposed to be Red Skull, even though he's already showing up and being teased in Uncanny Avengers. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. I don't know if maybe that's a fake, or if Spencer just didn't get the memo, or if he has been around and I'm missing something. I don't know. Clear this up in the comments for me if you can. But those are all the reviews that I've got for you this week. Let me know what you thought about your pulls in the comments, or just what you thought about the books that I read this week. Oh, and by the way, there's nothing back there because I didn't get a chance to actually go physically to the comic book store this week. I had to read everything digitally. And also, if the lighting or anything looks a bit off this week, I'm trying a new light, so let me know what you think about that in the comments too. You got lots of stuff to talk about down there today. And before you head out, of course, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything that I upload every other Wednesday and every Saturday. That's another change, by the way. This show's on Saturdays from now on. That all being said, thank you so much for watching. Next time, I'm not being blinded by this new goddamn light. It is so bright, guys.